It's that time again. Story time with Pastor and Peep. Here is Pastor Jeremy.
Well, hello friends. It's that time once again for us to get together and read a quick story. And today we've got a very special book called The Squirrels That Squabbled. What does squabble mean? Well, do you guys know what squabble means? Because I'm sure, as we're all hanging out at home, and maybe it's just you and your parents, or maybe it's you've got siblings over as well, that there occasionally is some squabbling that goes on, which is kind of like having a little bit of like an argument or a disagreement, and it can be hard to avoid, especially when we're together all the time. But it's really something we should try to avoid so that we, instead of squabbling, can have fun together. Ooh, I like fun. I like fun too. So let's see what our squirrel friends here can teach us about squabbling, shall we? Yeah. In a towering forest where summer had been, the leaves turned to gold as cold wind blew in, and the autumn arrived when the sky raging red. The sleepiest creatures got ready for bed, while up in a tree swung a flighty young squirrel who everyone knew as Spontaneous Searle. Ooh, spontaneous, that's a big word. It is. Now, most foresty folk had seen to their knees through plentiful months of mushrooms and seeds. They'd built up their stores so they'd all be well fed through the frosting of winter that glittered ahead. But Searle, he lived in the now and the here. He'd adventured and partied his way through the year, so his cupboard was empty. His hollow was bare. He hadn't a mouthful of food anywhere. Oh no. But wait, what is that over there? Take a look, a single lone pine cone wedged in a nook. He squealed with delight for very good reason, for inside were the very last nuts of the season. Oh my. But Cyril wasn't alone. There were more hungry eyes. Yes, plan ahead Bruce had his sights on the prize. Though he'd gathered fresh treasures of every sort, Bruce was convinced that he was one pine cone short. I simply must have it, he wistfully cried, and he dreamt of fresh, juicy pine nuts inside. He's got a lot already. I know, he does have a lot already. So Cyril set off on his way to the ground. Bruce, he was also last pine-coned bound. They sprinted and scurried with no time to gamble. They scratched at the bark at their stampering scramble. But their panic and haste shook the tips of the spruce, and the pine cone, it trembled, and then it came loose. It fell. I know, they climbed all the way up there, and then it fell down. Both squirrels gave chase at the lightning pace. This was the start of a wild, nutty race. It's mine, shouted Cyril. No, mine, hollowed Bruce. You don't stand a chance. Give up. It's no use. I'm hungry, cried Cyril. This pine cone's not yours. Stay back, shouted Bruce. This cone's for my stores. This is squabbling right here. It boinged over bushes, and it flew through the air, and it binged off the nose of a slumbering bear, and it bounced over boulders, and it came to a stop, then teetered and quivered, and oh no, it's right there on the edge. Plop! Both squirrels followed. Oh, the water was fast, and they learned that they needed each other at last, but each was intent on how he could win, and they didn't quite notice a bird swooping in. Ooh, bird! So, some birds eat nuts. I know, some birds do eat nuts. Cyril and Bruce, they watched with dismay as their cone disappeared, up and away. Come back, shouted Cyril. That nut's ours, exclaimed Bruce. But all hope was gone. It was simply no use. And meanwhile they drifted right up to the ledge Greed. It was driving them. What's that? I know. What is that? Over the edge. Cyril and Bruce, they had taken a fall and they were paying the price for wanting it all. They'd squandered their chances to team up and share. Would their nutty young hopes simply end in despair? Bruised and bedraggled, they swept past dry land. Cyril grabbed a branch with his trembling hand. Catching Bruce with the other, he heaved and huffed and pulled him to safety with panting and puffs. They dragged themselves up with spluttering wiggles. Then Bruce looked at Cyril and exploded in giggles. "How silly are we?" he managed to mutter. "How greedy I've been," he proclaimed with a splutter. "We shall change from today. May the squabbling cease. We'll celebrate seeing we're both in one piece." Yeah, they're just happy they made it over that waterfall. From that day forward, they made a great pair. They would gather together. They found they could share. Yes, Cyril and Bruce, they knew in the end. The best thing to share was a laugh with your friend. Yeah. That was a good story. It is. I think I know what squabbling is now. Do you know what squabbling is now? Yeah, you kind of think you know why we should probably avoid it. I do. How about you guys? You got a good handle on the squabbling and why we maybe should avoid it? You know, right now when we're home with either with our parents or maybe our siblings or whoever it is, it can be tempting to squabble. But really, the best thing we can do is share what we have and laugh and make the best of this time together. So I hope that's what you're doing. Thanks for joining me and Peep for Story Time. It is good to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again.